BDR or an account executive, you're going to run sequences. You're going to send out emails, phone calls, motions where you're utilizing LinkedIn and so forth. But what if there is a sequence that just works so well? What if there was a money sequence that you can copy and apply to your industry? Well, ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to go over such a sequence, one that is applicable to your business and you could take and mold according to your industry. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another great episode of the Sales Evangelist podcast. I'm your host, Donald C. Kelly, the Sales Evangelist, and I'm so excited for another great episode. I'm so excited to be here with you today. My guest today is Miranda Morrison. Miranda works for an amazing organization called Ambition, and you can find out more about Miranda and Ambition utilizing the links in the show notes today to check them out. But one of the things we're going to talk about today is a sequence that Miranda and her teammate was running. This sequence consisted of doing some phone calls, emails, and utilizing LinkedIn, videos, and so forth. And it was something that helped her to see a 20% increase in the number of replies and interaction, and obviously helping her to build more pipeline. It's a fun episode, and she brought us inside and showed us some of the things that she did and explained it out. And I think these theories can help, these strategies can help you and your business, no matter what industry you're in, because it's all about how you, it's all about the process. It's a lot of focusing on the problems that prospects are facing, and also being able to add your personality in it at scale in a personalized way. And I just love the way she did it. So with the current sequence, before you use the money sequence, because that's where everyone's in their edge of the seat. What would that look like? Tell us what was that like, and what was the performance you guys were seeing from just a regular one?
For sure. I mean, I think it definitely depended on the different title because it was role specific. So like our sales operations leader sequence didn't have that many opens, didn't have that many replies. Our sales enablement and development sequences did a lot better. So the way that those were structured, and we were using outreach, and we still use outreach, to be able to, I think it was like 10 to 15 email, LinkedIn, and phone touches. And we tried to segment those out based on time frame and whatever time of day the SDR wanted to call that worked best for them. A lot of that messaging was pretty short and sweet. It definitely was more cut and dry. Like this is what we're gonna say, and this is how we're gonna say it. Our open rates on those, based on my understanding, was good based on how we had performed so far. But in terms of getting the replies that we wanted and making people feel like this was something targeted directly towards them, that it was a person on the other side of the screen, that was something. They weren't necessarily super personal or super friendly. So to be able to go away from something like that into a sequence that was a little bit more personalized, was a little bit more just person to person, being a human being, a little bit more tongue in cheek, closer to the end. That was the biggest shift, and that's what the percentages reflected. I was looking back at the money sequence earlier today because I still use a lot of the like emails from it as part of my account executive sequence, and I think the email rate was a 42% open rate overall, which was significant from the money sequence, which was significantly higher to what we had done previously.
Okay, so 40. So I mean, would you say like it was 10% more, 20% more than the other sequence?
I can't speak for other people, but for mine specifically, it was like a 20% increase. So definitely.
Oh, man, that's amazing.
I mean, I could have been sending emails at the wrong time. There was definitely a lot of user error that probably went into that. But you'll see that was big for me.
So the company focused on the role, hyper focusing on the role.
Yeah.
And then so the messaging was that. So you weren't doing anything different with the messaging then between that sequence and then the one that you and your teammate created, the money sequence. Was there any difference based on the messaging, or was it the pattern?
Great question. I think the messaging was pretty similar. We just sort of broke it down into more of like more bullet points, and we incorporated the personal side of it in. I mean, when I look back at the differences between the two of them, I was looking at them yesterday and then again today to sort of prep for this. We were presenting the same kind of information. Our subject lines were a little bit different. Some of the comments we were making throughout, like I thought this would be most relevant for you. I'm reaching out to you specifically because of your role as, and then go ahead and insert the individual's role, that this would be valued because of X, Y, and Z. Would it be crazy to set up 15 minutes next week to learn a little bit more? To be able to have the ask in there and not necessarily bump something to the top of their inbox saying, oh, any thoughts? Because we all know, that's a great way to get sent to spam and a great way to not want to take a meeting with you. Yeah, so the messaging was pretty similar and pretty consistent. We definitely had a big shift in terms of what we were focusing on as an organization, in terms of wanting to empower the frontline manager, using them as a force multiplier. So how are we best adhering to that individual, and how are we going to make them more inclined to want to talk to us and learn more about what we have to offer them?
So walk us through that, what that sequence was like. Give us each step along that path.
For sure. So it's 18 steps over 28 days. And the first step, and which I'm a firm believer of, is always start with a phone call. You want to make sure you have that person's good phone number. Otherwise, first of all, you're calling company lines, which are a waste of your time. And you want to make sure that email address is good as well. So to be calling and emailing on day one, I think was super helpful to just sort of kick it off here.
Are you doing direct dial, or are you using any tools to get direct dial, or is it just more like you said, the company phone number call tree?
Yeah, to get a hold of folks and to get the best numbers, we utilize Seamless. So it was Sales Navigator, Seamless.
Yeah.
Right
big
on.
Shout out to Seamless.
Big Seamless fans, big Seamless fans. So my process was Sales Navigator, Seamless, Outreach. And then I'd kick it off and just try to sort of smile and dial. I'd literally block it in my calendar as smile and dial. So I'd give them a phone call. If I could get them right off the bat, fantastic. That was easier for me because I got to click less buttons. And then it would go into that manual email that we had to kick off to start the sequence beyond just that first phone call. So it was like, hey, it's Miranda over at Ambition. We're both in sales. I'll keep it short. This is who I am. This is where I'm reaching out from. Trying to get in touch with you because I thought this may be relevant because of X, Y, and Z. Would love to learn more about you, your current initiatives, and just see if it makes sense and how we could take your team to the next level. Are you available next Tuesday or Wednesday for a quick 15 minutes to chat? Looking forward to meeting you. And then the signature. So I actually got, right off the bat, quite a few email responses from that, especially when I was first rolling it out. And it was sort of like this. It seems so simple, but it worked a lot better than I could have anticipated. Then we would wait the next day, do a phone call, and do another email 2 days after that, which was a part of the same thread and bumping up that first email. So
day one, makes day one phone call, then email, then day two phone call, day three, because that's 2 days later, email number two.
Yes.
For the same thread bump.
And this was the email that I got the best open rates on, the best responses from, and more than one job offer on.
Miranda, so now altogether, this was over. So make sure we want to give them this money sequence so they can hear it again. Day one, general email, focus on their specific roles, challenges. Day two, phone call. Day three, you're doing that video email, little bump. Then 3, it was phone call again, or was it day 3, or what was help me out there? I forgot that part.
Yeah, for sure.
I know there's a few phone calls in LinkedIn, and
Believe me, I'm pulling it up in Outreach right now. I'm like, how many days is this thing? Yeah. So after the second email, that was part of that same first thread. It was a phone call 2 days afterwards. So day 5 was a phone call. Day 6 was a phone call. And then just because I was like, I don't want to overdo it, I would do day 8, another phone call. And then on that same day 8, after giving them a phone call, I would try to add them on LinkedIn, or at least make sure I looked at their profile. And then if I saw they did accept me later on, I would try to engage with something on their profile, as long as it wasn't something from like over a month ago. And it would be like, why is this person looking through my posts? And then after that, day 10 was the next manual email, which was another reply to that same thread. And that's just sort of what we talk about at Ambition, like salesperson to salesperson, like let's call a spade a spade. I totally understand if you've been busy. You can tell me if you think I need acting classes to improve my video making skills. Like I know I'm not winning any Oscars or something sort of tongue in cheek like that, just sort of calling it out that they haven't replied. Purpose of my outreach was purely informational, and I promise I'll be a lot less awkward on a Zoom call with you. Really just looking to see.
I love that.
I'm really just looking to see if Ambition can help your team, and I'm confident you'll like what you see. Is there room on your calendar during the next week or two for a quick low stakes chat? So super short and sweet, and just sort of being like, hey, am I barking up the wrong tree here? Like, am I in the wrong place? I do know people that change a subject line for a new thread, being like, am I barking up the wrong tree? Or like, am I in something along those lines? Like, am I in the right place? And people would usually be like, oh, like I'm an individual contributor. Like I'm not actually like a sales leader, or you know what? Like we're really locked up on budget. And then at this time, and just you can objection handle or again disqualify from there. So being able to, that's what I always think of as like salesperson to salesperson, like, give it to me straight, essentially. And so that was the manual email for day 10. After that, I think on the same day, day 10 was another phone call. Day 13 was another phone call.
Miranda, thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for sharing the money sequence with us. And I wish you all the great success, and not that you need it. You're still thriving and gonna thrive. So congrats, and thanks again for coming on the show.
I appreciate that. Thanks so much. Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Hey, that was Miranda Morrison. If you haven't done so already, click on the link in the show notes. Go ahead and connect with her. Tell her you heard her on the Sales Evangelist podcast. Listen, as always, I want you to find success. I want you to find your ideal customers, and I want you to know what to say when you reach out to them. I want you to be able to have great discussions and build strong value. I want you to close more deals. But most importantly, I want you to raise your level of thinking and go out and do big things.